Hello everybody. I know you must be very tired already from listening all this presentation, which were only 6 minutes each. But I think there's many interesting products and many interesting solutions for many problems we have in nowadays technology world. And I was actually quite impressed that there's so many also financial technology solutions, because I always think Taiwan is a little bit behind if it comes to banks and financial services. So about Gandi, we are a registrar. I don't know if you can see it if it's big enough. We are domain name registrars. So domain name registrars, they are companies which help people to register internet domain names. We are already more than 15 years old, and we are from France originally. We manage now more than 1.9 million domain names, which puts us the first in France, number 5 in Europe, and number 20 worldwide. And we have always been a very different registrar from others like GoDaddy, because we focus mainly on the tech community, engineers, and mostly people who are working inside the technology field. We were among the first .com provider in France as registrar, and we also do SSL with offices in Baltimore, Luxembourg, and San Francisco. And I founded the Taipei office in 2014. We also have corporate domain name management services. So for big brands like Rolex or KKBox in Taiwan, we manage their domain name portfolio, because a brand has a lot of domain names, so they need to have someone who's taking care about all their intellectual property about the domain names. And our company culture is no bullshit, which means like we're not doing any kind of, after 2 years, we're sending an email, if you buy 20 more domains, we're going to give you half the price. So we don't do this kind of gray area business. Some basic things about top-level domain names, if you don't know. You have country top-level domain names, which is like .com, .tw, .cn, .de for Germany, and generic top-level domain names, which is like .com, .net, .org, and the so-called NGTLD, and this is something which I want to talk about today, which is new top-level domain names, and probably you've seen some of them already in the brochures. I saw there's one company is using a .plus and another one which is using a .video. So I want to talk about this a little bit today. And this country code top-level domain name is not really defined by they just decided at one point they were going to use the list by the ISO association or the ISO organization. So .tw luckily has a domain name as well. Otherwise, Taiwan wouldn't have a domain name if they would have decided that they use some other rule. So this is good news for Taiwan. And so for the old school top-level domain names, you have .com, .org, .net. And since 2011, ICANN, which is the authority, they have decided to introduce other TLDs. Maybe you have seen a .info and a .pro and a .asia. And since 2014 onwards, they launched the new top-level domain name program, which is introducing the new top-level domain names. And these are the ones which are .tech, .video, and others. So how does this all work? The idea is that there has been applicants. So if you have $165,000, you can apply for one. And they said basically, okay, we have community TLDs, we have generic ones like .shop is coming up in September. And trademarks, like you can have .rolex, you can have .volkswagen, I think, or .bmw. And you can also have geographic TLDs like .taipei or .tokyo, they also exist now. And community TLDs, which is like, I think there's a .sax as well, so .sax, .sexy, and any kind of generic terms you can think about. So the space for the internet domain names is going to change in a couple of next months or next years. And so to open a new top-level domain names, the process which was made was there's an initial filter for these applications. So they have to go through a board review by a community. And if there's any comment by a government, like they say like, okay, hey, this is not okay, this is hurting our feelings if you're from China, then they would say, okay, you cannot have this name, or they're going to object it. So .sax, for example, they had some problems. They said like, hey, how can we have .sax? What if someone registered this domain name and it's calling them Gandhi.sax? So this domain name is only going to use for people to attack us. And Gandi said like, no, this is not like this. We're going to make cancer sucks, bullying sucks. So they were supposed to be about awareness, and in the end, they passed with the application. And in the end, the decision is just one person to decide if it was worth to spend for them $165,000 for the application or not. So it's a little bit of a complicated process, and ICANN has been under a lot of criticism actually that the process is not very transparent, that the process is not very clear. So Yeah, but that's how the thing is. So from the 1,930 applications which have been there since 2014, there have been 570 abandoned, 2 refused. A couple of them gave up because you don't have just to pay the application fee, but you also need to pay your lawyers that they always go back and forth between New York and these other places. And totally there's been over 1,200 contracts signed. And so if you ask now, so there's .com, .net, how many other top-level domain names are there totally now? It's 1,040. So you can see it's a lot of top-level domain names you can already pick from. And the usage statistic now is you have 22 million. Totally around in the internet, there's like 300 million domain names. So 22 million of them, they are new top-level domain names. And the ones which are actually not in use, but people just reserve them because they want to put them aside, is around 17 million. Some of the popular ones are XYZ. They are so popular because they're very cheap. .club, which is of course very generic. You can use it for golf clubs. You can use it for dance clubs. Then others are .link, which is usually just used for linking to somewhere. And .science. And from the city top-level domain names, the most popular one is .nyc. I think it's popular because it's very short. So if you want to look for a domain name like this, you say like, I have no idea, what can I use? You can actually go to our website. You can just search for a simple name to Gandi.net. You just type what is your name of your project or business or idea. You just type it and we're going to give you a suggestion. And if you just type the name itself, we're going to give you another suggestion based on your location. So we're not going to put the TLDs which are the most worthy for us, that we make more money with them, but based on our no bullshit principle, we're actually showing the ones which the customer have been registering in your region based on your IP address. So in Taiwan, you're going to see a result that .tw, .taipei, .cn, and .com is among the top ones. Okay, so some of the current pricing, this is actually a presentation I used in Hong Kong, so you just have to multiply it by 4 if you want the Taiwan dollar. And we have .com now for around $480 and .ninja for around 400 Hong Kong dollars, 100 Hong Kong dollars. So as I mentioned, there's still some TLDs coming. So one is .shop, which will be available in September. .blog, which is heavily pushed by the company which is also running WordPress.com. So they got the accreditation for this TLD. And the .dot. So this is supposed to be one of the big ones who are coming up. There's 3 phases for a TLD. It's Sunrise, Land Rush, and Go Live. So Sunrise is only if you have a trademark. If you have a trademark for your brand, you can contact us. And we can also show you how you can block across multiple TLDs. Then there's the Land Rush period for a new domain name, which lasts like 1 month. And this is like at a higher price. You can register it, but you are sure that you're getting the name. And then there's Go Live, which depending if you have a restriction for this TLD, because some of them they say like .lawyer is only available for lawyers, .bank is only for banks which are accredited according to the fiscal authority in their country, and you can register for these domain names. So it's very complex, unfortunately, but it makes it more interesting to work for a domain name registrar. And if you register with us, each one comes with 1 gigabyte of space, 5 mailboxes. So every domain name you buy from Gandi comes with a lot of extra stuff. You can have a very basic website, you can have private domain name registration, DNSSEC if the extension supports it, and we also have a very nice API and command line interface to manage the domain name records. So again about Gandi in Asia, we are created in 2014, based in Taipei. Nehu, we used to be in Renai and Dunhua, I think, yeah. And we moved to Nehu in April. And we support simplified traditional Chinese on our website, and we have Chinese speaking support. And for the DNS in Asia, right now we have a location in Tokyo. And we mostly focus on open source communities as well as our support. As I mentioned, we don't do any advertisements, so we support a hackerspace in Taiwan, which is a makerspace. We supported the Python conference in Taiwan, Japan, FOSS Asia in Singapore, COSCUP, which is also open source conference in Taiwan in August. SITCon, which is a student IT conference in Taiwan, MobCon, which is in Kaohsiung, mobile conference, and Hong Kong open source conference, which was last month. And if you're a developer of any kind of open source project, you can just send us an email. Or if you have any other great idea for open source or open technology product, you can just send me an email and maybe we can support you with a domain or hosting. And we also have our own open source tool, which is Gandi command line interface, Trill, which is a network management tool, and Baobab. Okay. So if you have any question, you can visit our booth. We are here today and tomorrow, and it's just on the corner over there. And that's all. Thanks.